Once upon a time, in the far distant future, there lived a prosperous and well-loved king, Indigo Sisiv, or to his friends, Indi Sisiv. The king was known far and wide for his wealth and generosity, but he was primarily known for his pragmatic and ample wisdom. The key to this great king's wisdom came from a vast lexicon of writings from the famous theologian Douglas Matherus. His bound collective archival writings were oft consulted for the troubles and woes on which the people of Rockheifer needed insight. These works of renown were compiled into a single source known as, according to Douglas Matherus, or more simply, the One Book. Whenever questions would arise on what a person should do in a given predicament, they would request an audience with the king, who would consult the One Book and enlighten the knowledge seeker with the wisdom it contained. Our story begins on one such occasion, as the king found himself in a rather befuddling quandary and needed some wisdom to sort out his own personal problem. In this kingdom, where according to Douglas Matherus, you can't throw a stone in a crowd without hitting a doctor.
Is there a doctor nearby?
Yes, now where was I? Oh yes, there lived 3 brothers. They weren't just brothers, but triplets. Not just regular old run-of-the-mill triplets, but prince triplets. Not identical, of course, and they were all born on February 30th. Traditionally, February had consisted of 28 days, with an extra day thrown in every few years for good measure. But one day, shortly before the triplets were born, the king was consulting the One Book and found that, according to Douglas Matherus, January 1st was just another ordinary day like February 30th. So the king declared that February 30th would be a specially reserved date to celebrate the birth of his triplet sons. Now, normally the firstborn would become the heir to the throne, but when these brothers were born, they came out holding on to one another, so all were born at once. It was one long baby train. Because of this, it had been decided that when they were older, and could do so, they would compete for the throne. So on the blessed day of February 30th, on the triplets' 13th birthday,
it is on this day that we shall decide who shall be the next heir. Jarvis, fetch me the game of Twister. The winner shall be the next heir.
As the king's trusted advisor, Jarvis turned to fetch the ancient game. One of the boys spoke up.
Father, we had just had our annual birthday chili, and according to our wise Douglas Matherus, we cannot have chili then play Twister.
Ah, yes, my son. While you are still young and not fully grown, we shall not take any chances. Therefore, Jarvis, we no longer need the game of Twister.
How shall we divide it then, Father?
I must think on this a bit longer.
So on their 15th birthday, after the annual feast of chili, the king requested for the triplets to meet with him.
My sons, while I do not like to dwell upon my demise, I also refuse to leave my kingdom without a king. Therefore, today we will decide who shall be my heir upon my death. I have fetched the castle feline. Each one of you shall stand an equal distance from the feline. Whichever one she comes to, without any coaxing, will be the next heir.
The boys looked at one another and thought this was fair, but Jarvis, standing nearby, spoke up.
My king, well, I can tell that you have thought a great deal about this. I believe it is unwise to let the feline choose the next heir. According to Douglas Matherus, cats are arrogant. I'm afraid that the cat, being arrogant, will choose herself to rule over the kingdom.
Having not thought of the character of the castle cat, the king sat silent, then slowly nodded.
Jarvis, I appreciate your wisdom. I must continue to think about this predicament. Please, go. Enjoy the rest of the celebration.
6 years later, on the prince's 21st birthday, the king, sick with age, lay in bed. He summoned his sons once again.
My sons, I fear my time is upon me. Today you shall go on a quest. By nightfall, we will know who will be my heir.
Yes, Father, as you wish, but what is this quest you speak of?
The legend speaks of a spectacular porcine adored by Mathereth. The first to find the spectacular porcine shall inherit a throne. Now be quick! Death is near!
Porcine means pig, right? We're looking for a pig?
Jarvis, having been standing silent by the door, heard all the king had said.
Spectacular porcine? Adored by Matherus? I know I have heard this phrase before. According to Douglas Matherus, the king does not have all the answers. Surely this is where I have seen that phrase before. Aha! I must tell the princes at once. Or perhaps if I brought it, I could be king.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who wants 1,000 miles to fall down and shoot.
You found it! The spectacular porcine, adored by Matherus. The crown is yours.
Jarvis was crowned the new king, and in keeping with tradition, was anointed king with the Oreo, the only godly snack known to man, according to Douglas Matherus. Jarvis went on to rule the kingdom justly and kindly, wisely using the one book to successfully navigate most of the problems that would occur in the kingdom. Unfortunately, the princes were never seen again. It is said that during their quest they stopped for chili, got in a heated game of Twister, one in which they lost to a rather arrogant cat wearing boots. Being so embarrassed by their loss, they went into hiding. However, the rest of the kingdom lived happily ever after.